Summer has come and passed, the innocent can never last. Wake me up when September ends. Happy September, everybody. It is TVB. And September's here, summer has come and gone, fall is approaching. And I haven't done these in a while because I remember like last year and the year before I made these videos. It was like I take all the films I saw in a certain month and rank them all from worst to best. This year I decided to change up that formula a little bit. I'm taking all the films I saw per season from worst to best. Like, did one back in the winter with all the December 2018 films and January and February 2019 films. You saw all the winter films I saw that, time span from worst to best. And I took all the March and April films, all the spring films that I saw from worst to best. Obviously, Endgame dominated that list. I mean, can you blame me? It's Endgame. So yeah, I don't consider May a spring month. I consider it a summer month because that's when everyone seems to say, like, hey, this is the official start of the summer movie season. And that's when most schools get out. I mean, I'm from New Jersey originally, and in my, hometown, schools end in June and start in September. But, like, here in Colorado, where I'm at now, they end in May and start in August. So yeah, I'm back in school, I'm back taking classes, still trying to get back to the whole swing of things. But you know what? It's Labor Day weekend. Happy Labor Day, everybody. Hope you guys are enjoying your time off. And I didn't see this many movies this summer as I thought I did last summer, but you know what? That's okay. I had summer class and my job going on. I was busy. I had stuff to do. It was a very productive summer. I'm very happy with how it went, and it's good to be back in school. So, without further ado, let's rank all 14 films I saw this summer from worst to best. The worst film that I saw this summer is The Hustle. Oh, this movie was boring. It wasn't boring, just boring. It was annoying, and it was poorly acted, it was poorly written, it was just annoying to watch. The jokes don't land. The film's story, what story? It's just Rebel Wilson and Anne Hathaway just acting like morons for 90 minutes. I mean, I will admit it has its moments, but overall, guys, please, you should really skip this film. It is not worth watching. It's very formulaic. We've had so many of these movies before. Just, what's next? The second worst film that I saw this summer was Dark Phoenix. Oh my goodness, why does this film even exist? It's I really wish that the whole Fox X-Men verse just ended with Logan. Because Logan was so brutal yet beautiful at the same time. It was such a good send-off for Hugh Jackman and Sir Patrick Stewart as Wolverine and Professor X. So why does this film need to exist? Dark Phoenix was boring, it was poorly acted, poorly scripted, it was a slog to draw through, the characters were just wooden. It's oh my god, Mystique being oh, it needs to be X-Woman, not X-Men. Just, enough with gender politics in movies. Seriously, boring. And yeah, just the action scenes were, not well choreographed. It was just, the whole movie's just a train wreck. I get it, Fox, you're merging with Disney, and, the X-Men are finally entering the MCU, but you could have at least put more effort into it. Dark Phoenix just feels like that bad, essay that you write when you're a student. I'm a student, so this makes sense to me. It's when you procrastinate to the extreme, there's that one essay that you have to submit to, tomorrow, so you do okay, well, I know this is trash, but I gotta turn something into, because turning your assignment in, even if you know your work is complete garbage, is better than not doing it at all, because, well, when you turn something in, you can at least get partial credit, right? That's what Dark Phoenix feels like. Fox just crapped this out, knowing that it doesn't need to exist. We're merged with Disney soon anyway, so let's not even try with this one. Just, it was, don't waste your time with this. And I feel ashamed. I feel ashamed that the X-Men franchise ended off with this. Where's Deadpool when you need him? Next film on my list is Men in Black International. Honestly, all the problems I had with Dark Phoenix, I also had with Men in Black International. Though, it was at least the reason why International is higher on my list than Dark Phoenix is because at least Men in Black was trying to be funny, while Dark Phoenix just took itself way too seriously. But Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson, they share time, for the attempts to make you laugh. I didn't find this movie funny at all, but some other people did. And hey, if you enjoyed Men in Black International or Dark Phoenix or The Hustle or next film on my list, hey, great for you. As long as you're having fun in the movies, I don't care. You do you. But, like, I don't know, this movie just wasn't... I just didn't find this movie entertaining, and, the story was boring. I mean, Chris Hemsworth, Tessa Thompson, the chemistry they had in Thor Ragnarok is just not here in this movie, and that's honestly probably the worst part about it. It's just, like, I don't feel anything. Like, this film doesn't need to exist, and yet it does. Just, bleh. Alright, this... I didn't see too many animated movies this summer. As a matter of fact, I think I only saw 3 animated movies this summer. And Ugly Dolls is the worst out of the bunch. Ugly Dolls is better than Wonder Park, in my opinion. Wonder Park was just a complete snooze fest. But, like, Ugly Dolls, I had very low expectations going in for it, and that's kind of what I walked out with. Like, this movie is relying on a lot of genre cliches. The characters are just forgettable. I barely remember anything about this movie. I mean, I like Kelly Clarkson. She's a great singer, and her working on the soundtrack was the best part about this movie, for sure. But, like, I don't know. There's so many other animated sequels that are just way better than Ugly Dolls, and, like, animated movie musicals, excuse me. Yeah, just have better music, better songs, better story, better characters, better animation, just better production, just better marketing. Like, movies based on toys can work. I mean, seeing how big of a success Lego movies have been, like, yeah, they can work just fine, for sure, but, like, it's not what you do, it's the way that you do it. And STX, like, they did Ugly Dolls, not that good. Anyway, let's venture into more positive territory. The next film we're going to talk about is Dora and the Lost City of Gold, which is honestly the hidden surprise of the entire summer. I just remember everyone just hating the idea of a live-action Dora movie. Everyone's just, flipping out that Nickelodeon was doing this to us. Especially when, there were rumors of Michael Bay producing. It's like, no, please, no explosions in a Dora movie. We don't need explosions. And the trailers... yeah, they weren't too impressive by any means. But, my friend Danny and I walked into this movie ready to just diss it. But then we walked and be like, hey, it's not that bad. And we looked up the critical receptions for, Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb, and this film was actually well received by the critics. And I am very happy that this film turned out to be that way. This film was the surprise it didn't suck movie of the entire summer. We all thought that this movie was going to be garbage, but actually turned out to be pretty good. I was hoping the same thing would happen to the Emoji movie, but, false hopes, what can I say? But yeah, Dora and the Lost City of Gold, it's it definitely has that, super childish vibe that cartoons had, because, Dora is, targeted for, 4 and 5-year-olds helping, little American kids speak Spanish, so obviously they cannot take away that, but, since it's live action, and it's, 2019, and there's some big names in this movie, like Isabel Moner, and, Michael Pena, and, that dude from Overboard, I forget his name. Yeah, since there's, it's a modern setting, and, they're high schoolers, they balance out the childish vibe that the cartoons had with enough meta jokes and, modern, jabs and, fun things like that to make it more appealing towards the older kids and the teens and the adults. So this film is just fun for the whole family. Parents who haven't seen this film yet, please go in knowing that you're not going to be, wanting to punch yourself in the face for 90 minutes. Don't worry, this is not one of those movies. And, yeah, so... here's kind of how my summer ended. I ended my summer classes on August 9th, or August 8th. Yeah, August 8th, technically. And I flew home August 9th, and I was home for 2 days. Then, and that's, between in those 2 days, I saw Dora with my friend Danny. Then I was in Massachusetts for an entire week with my scout camp. I was a counselor there for the first time. I got my Eagle Scout rank 2 summers ago, and finally I could be a counselor for some boys, yeah. And then I got back, and I was home for, pretty much another week, just hanging out with friends, and, the night I got back from scout camp was the same night I saw another film further down the list, right? But, I was way too tired to review it. I almost fell asleep on my drive back from the theater. That was scary. So, yeah, I decided, you know what? The film I just saw, I'm going to see as many other movies as I can before classes start, and then make mini reviews for those movies. Sadly, I did not get a chance to do so, and I apologize to you guys, but I did get to see 3 summer films in the past 2 weeks that I didn't get a chance to review. This film is one of them, and I just saw this movie yesterday, and that is the Angry Birds movie 2. Like, this movie, guys, I was dreading this way more than I was dreading Dora. I'm not joking. When I found out there was going to be another Angry Birds movie, I was just like, why? Sony, you just nailed it with Spider-Verse, and now you're going back to stupid shit like this? Like, who asked for another Angry Birds movie? Nobody. I mean, the first one, I enjoyed the first one. I think it's a lot of hate that it doesn't deserve. I mean, yeah, it certainly has problems. It's very cliche and reliant on, like, innuendos and genre cliches. But overall, I enjoyed it. It's good animation, good voice cast. It's clever. It has clever writing here and there. But yeah, when I saw a sequel and the announcements for that, and I was just like, what is this? Nobody asked for another Angry Birds movie, and I was not pleased by the trailers either. But then I saw how good this film's reviews were, and I was like, wow, this film has better critical reception than Detective Pikachu. I was not expecting that. So, lo and behold, I reluctantly decided to see Angry Birds, and I was like, and I left the theater, I was like, again, that was not bad. Another hidden surprise of the summer was Angry Birds movie 2, and they learned from their mistakes from the last Angry Birds film. Like, the last Angry Birds film had a bunch of sexual innuendos that were just unnecessary and way too obvious. There's still a few like adult jokes, but they're not super obvious because kids are smart nowadays. You say "pluck my life" like I did in the first movie, and kids are gonna know it's like, oh, he's just saying "fuck my life," but they're birds. But there's one scene where, like, Red or Chuck, one of those two, says something. I don't want to ruin it for you guys, but adults will get it, kids won't. So it's like, hey, good for you guys who wrote this movie. And I liked seeing, the birds and the pigs put aside their differences so unite against a common enemy. I've always had a soft spot for, premises like that. And the voice cast, once again, is very well done. Jason Sudeikis, Josh Gad, Danny McBride, Peter Dinklage, Awkwafina's in this movie too. Yeah, like a lot of cool names, and they all bring their best to this, to the voicing these birds and pigs. And I really enjoyed seeing that. And the animation does not get the credit it deserves. Like, Angry Birds, these 2 Angry Birds movies have very good animation. The attention to detail is on point, and it's very colorful. Everything just feels alive. So yeah, Angry Birds movie 2, again, parents, if you take your kids to see this movie, you're not in for 90 minutes of groaning and cringe. Believe me, that's, again, it's not one of those movies. So yeah, the next is, I was excited for this, and that is Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw. Like, when I heard that Luke Hobbs and Deckard Shaw were getting their own movie together, I was just like, yes, the 2 best parts about the Fast and Furious franchise are finally just having their own buddy cop comedy movie. That is amazing. And walking away from Hobbs and Shaw, was it better than the Fate of the Furious or Furious 7? I'm gonna say no. There was, I don't know, I just feel like this film could have done more. I mean, I don't know, it's the reason why I put this film higher than those 2 is more just nitpicks. I still had a lot of fun watching Hobbs and Shaw because, again, these 2, like, Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham's chemistry is just so on point. And Vanessa Kirby, who plays Shaw's sister in this movie, was also very badass, very great looking. Just, she did her best as well. And Idris Elba as the bad guy in this movie was just fantastic. And how the second half of Hobbs and Shaw takes place in Samoa, which looks beautiful. Like, Cliff Curtis from Fear the Walking Dead is, Dwayne Johnson's brother in this film. And, like, yeah, I don't know. I've really just have become a lot more interested in, South Pacific, Pacific Islander settings, because I plan on writing a graphic novel series that takes place in them one day. And yeah, more details on that one, that comes around. But yeah, this film had pretty much what you expect from Fast and Furious. A lot of good jokes, a lot of funny character moments, them just bantering and roasting each other, because these 2 don't get along yet. They're still working together. And of course, tons of stupid, crazy, over-the-top action sequences. Like, just go into these Fast and Furious movies expecting, over-the-top action and funny characters, and you're in for a good time. Trust me. So, we are halfway through the list. And the next film I want to talk about is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is directed by the one and only Quentin Tarantino. And I will say this was in my top 9 most hyped movies of 2019 list, and walking out for it, I was not disappointed, though I will admit it's not the best that Tarantino has done. Like, I still look back on some of his older films like Django and Kill Bill and Reservoir Dogs more fondly than I'll look back on this. I don't know why I say that, because Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it's 2 hours and 45 minutes. I hear it's like based on, these murders, like the Manson murders, I think it's what they're called. Please forgive me if I'm, getting that incorrectly. I don't know how accurate it is, but it's like, late 60s, early 70s. I like period pieces. And, Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio work very well in this movie. I love DiCaprio. He's one of my favorite actors. Margot Robbie isn't, she's not in this movie as much as I was hoping she'd be, but when she was in it, she was definitely, brought her best as well, like how she always does. And yeah, I mean, in this film's ending, like, the last 30 minutes of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, guys, was totally worth the price of admission. Like, that's the Tarantino I know right there. Holy crap, that ending was crazy. But yeah, I mean, if you love Tarantino movies, like, I think you're gonna have a good time with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But if you're just the average viewer, probably not, just saying. But yeah, I know you guys might think it's heresy that I'm putting this movie higher up than, the last few movies I've said. But I will say, the next one I want to talk about is Detective Pikachu. Which, yeah, this film is better than Angry Birds. I mean, even though they're both good movies, it's like, I'm just so happy that video games and film, these two industries, are finally starting to get along, because this is the first year where we've had a video game movie be well received by the critics. We've had 2 of them, with Detective Pikachu and Angry Birds 2. Like, I'm just really happy that this is happening, and Detective Pikachu, I was extremely excited to see this film. Like, it was in my top 5, like, most hyped movies of this year. And, like, because I've been like a huge, like, Pokemon fan for as long as I can remember. And I was really, like, wanting to see a live-action Pokemon movie, even though all my friends disagreed with me and said, ew, Vitas, live-action Pokemon would just look stupid. No, Paramount, please take a note on this when you make Sonic happen. Pikachu looks adorable in Detective Pikachu, and Ryan Reynolds did a fantabulous job of doing the voice performance and the motion capture. They put his face onto Pikachu, and it just works so well. And Justice Smith, he's, the guy's had a bumpy career. He wasn't that great in Fallen Kingdom back in 2018, or I should say last year. But yeah, like, I like the chemistry that these two had, and just seeing the whole Pokemon world just come to life on the big screen was just so refreshing, and I just loved seeing it. Just, Pokemon fans are gonna have a blast this film, because they can just point out all the Pokemon that they see, and, like, you could throw a party for your friends when it comes on DVD, and, like, play a whole Easter egg game on, like, hey, there's Snorlax, hey, there's Mewtwo, hey, there's Grenoble, hey, there's Apom, hey, there's a Cherim, hey, 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 okay, you guys get the idea, yeah. Detective Pikachu, as a Pokemon fan, I had a blast watching it. So, yeah, guys, we are moving into the top 5. And my pick for the 5th best movie this summer might be kind of surprising to some of you, and I'm pretty sure some of you might be honestly straight up mad at me for putting this film this high on my list. But I would say the 5th best is Godzilla King of the Monsters. Was I excited for this movie? Guys, that is an understatement. I was more hyped for King of the Monsters than I was for Endgame. And don't get me wrong, Endgame was a fan-freaking 10 out of 10-tastic movie, and I had very high expectations for it, but, like, the reason why I put this at number 1 on my top 9 most hyped movies of the year list is because we've been getting at least 3 Marvel movies every year. And we get Star Wars annually since 2015, right? Godzilla, this was his first time on screen since 2014, and just seeing all these classic monsters come together to just, tear each other to shreds was just, for the first time since the 60s, was just amazing. And introduced some really cool new monsters, too, in this whole Monsterverse created by Legendary. Like, has Behemoth, it has Mokele Mbembe, Typhon, another Muto's running around, just all sorts of, cool stuff, like all these Easter eggs, and, the reason why this film gets trashed, this film's not that well received, like, all the critics who don't like King of the Monsters are just, ignorant fools who don't understand the Godzilla source material. Like, they don't pick up on the Easter eggs. They don't, like, notice the score, like, the iconic music comes in the last act of the movie, and, like, and just the little things like that. Like, if you're going to this movie expecting, some good Godzilla fan service and just monsters beating the heck out of each other, trust me, you're in for a blast. I still had a blast watching this movie. I was really excited for this film. I had a whole, like, Godzilla-themed week dedicated for this film's release back in May, and yeah, I was not disappointed. So if you just trust everything I just said, and trust me, you're gonna have a fun time with King of the Monsters. And I cannot wait for Godzilla vs. Kong that comes out next year. Like, that as of now is my second most hyped movie of 2020, first being Wonder Woman 1984, if the DCU hasn't totally been killed by Warner Bros. But yeah, we'll see where that goes, I guess. And oh boy, all this yammering is making me thirsty. Anyway, let's talk about Toy Story 4, which is, I was hesitant about the idea of a fourth Toy Story film, seeing how Toy Story 3 is, like, one of my favorite animated movies of all time, and it ended just so beautifully. That film is, like, practically flawless, and, but, like, then I saw the trailers, and I saw the direction they were taking it, and I was just like, Toy Story 4, I could get behind this. And I was optimistic for this film, and I saw it, and guys, it really exceeded my expectations. Like, the jokes in this movie, in all honesty, the parents were laughing harder than I was. This film is a blast for kids and adults and teens and the older kids, too. And, like, the animation is, it's Pixar, it's flawless. Like, they basically pioneered computer animation with the first Toy Story film, and they've just been expanding on that ever since, like, drastically. And I can't wait to see what they do with Onward, which is probably my third most hyped movie of 2020 as of now. And yeah, just seeing Woody and Buzz and the rest of the gang together again was just so great. And, like, even Keanu Reeves is in this movie as that one Canadian motorcycle, like, junkie, and there's Key and Peele voicing Ducky and Bunny at the carnival. Is just, oh my gosh, they were so cute and hilarious. Like, this film's, like, I know this film made over $1 billion at the box office, but if Toy Story 5 happens, I honestly might refuse to watch it unless the trailers look good enough, and maybe I'll see it, because, like, I don't want to spoil it, but the way Toy Story 4 ends, not as emotional as Toy Story 3, but still had me almost teary-eyed, and I'm just like, Pixar, please, there's no way you can make a sequel from this. Otherwise, without it being, like, stupid. But yeah, I don't want to spoil it for you guys there, but yeah, Toy Story 4, trust me, it's completely worth seeing. And the third best film that I saw this summer is Spider-Man Far From Home, which it really goes to show that MCU, even after, like, destroying the box office with Endgame, they still got it. Like, oh, I'm still, like, amazed that Endgame is now the highest grossing movie of all time. Like, part of me wishes that the MCU just, like, stop making movies after Endgame, but after seeing Far From Home, I'm just like, you know what? This franchise can carry on, and I'll still support it, to the very, very end. Because Far From Home, guys, it's amazing. Like, Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man, and he goes through superhero issues and teen issues because he's on vacation with his friends, in Europe, and he's trying to get with Zendaya's character, what was her name? Whatever, yeah. And Mysterio, oh my gosh, he played by Jake Gyllenhaal. What a twist! Oh boy, that was a great, very welcome addition. And, like, just him and his friends, and they always fighting all these different monsters along the way. And I feel like I am upset and really worried about the future of the MCU because, like, after everything, the whole, like, disaster between Disney and Sony, it's like, guys, I really don't think Sony is to blame for, this whole debacle, because Disney started. Actually, no, it's both their faults, because Disney is just being so greedy, being like, hey, we want a 50-50 deal, you guys are taking too much for the money. It's like, okay, why does Disney need more and more money? It's like, again, Endgame has beaten out Avatar for the highest grossing film of all time, and they're making bank off freaking live action Aladdin and Lion King remakes, and they got Frozen 2 around the corner. It's like they own so many properties, and like they make so much money every year. Why do you need more money off SpiderMan when he's already, like, even if it's just 5% of the deal, you're still making bank off it? Just jeez, like, I'm just worried, because can the MCU continue without Spider-Man? Because he's just become such a fan favorite, and poor Tom Holland, don't recast him, please, wherever he ends up. I mean, at least we got Spider-Verse to look forward to, and a possible Venom, and Spider-Man crossover. I would actually like seeing that, as long as they keep Tom Holland as Spider-Man. But yeah, anyway, the second best movie that I saw this summer, I'm kind of surprised myself that I put it this high on this list, and that is Good Boys. Like, this, Hobbs and Shaw, and Angry Birds 2 were like the three movies I didn't get the chance to review. And like, again, when I was driving back from the theater, I was just too exhausted to review it. So yeah, my apologies for you guys there, but I was really excited to see Good Boys, because I've always loved the idea of kids, kid-friendly things being mashed up with profanity and explicit content. There's just something about the duality between those two, like, themes that just works. And Good Boys does that excellently. Jacob Tremblay, this kid is going places, because he absolutely nailed it in both Room and Wonder. And here he is again with his two best friends in 6th grade in Good Boys. They're growing up, it's a coming of age story, but they have to deal with such outrageous R-rated scenarios, and they're discovering, all these grown-up things like sex toys and pornography, and oh my gosh, guys, no film I have seen this year has made me laugh harder than Good Boys. Like, oh my goodness, it was a crowd theater, and like, there were so many moments where everybody was just erupting with, just hysterical laughing, and it was just so refreshing and just so, like, outrageous and silly, and it's, oh my goodness, and the themes are real. I think, actually, no, I would not recommend middle schoolers watch this. I think it's funny how the Red Band trailer pokes fun at the censorship, requirements. Like, oh, these kids can actually be in the movie, but they still can't watch it unless their parents are with them. So, like, their parents will be like, okay, kids, here's $5,000 or whatever, sign the contract, okay, have fun being in your R-rated movie, that's totally fine. But no, the parents still have to hold their hands in the movie theater. Just, the MPAA is a hilariously cringy thing. But yeah, guys, the best film that I have seen this entire summer, I think, has gone under the radar for most people, which is ironic, because last year the best film of the summer, in my opinion, was Sorry to Bother You, which is an indie film that was very, under the radar for most people. I think this film is also under the radar. It's not as big budget, like blockbuster superhero, boom, 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 like that kind of thing. It's Longshot, which is a comedy that's a political satire, which is a big, like, different sort of film that Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg usually make, because these guys are just so known for really raunchy comedies like Neighbors and This Is the End. And don't get me wrong, those films are hilarious. This film is R-rated, and it certainly has its raunchy moments, but Longshot's R-rating is more tame compared to other, films that these guys have made. And I consider that a blessing, because this film doesn't prioritize gross out sex jokes as much as it prioritizes political satire, because Seth Rogen plays this, like, washed up liberal hippie news reporter who's just like, oh, the left is right, the right is wrong, is blah 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 blah, and yet, like, he finds out at the end of the movie that his black best friend, played by O'Shea Jackson Jr., is a black Christian conservative, which was just, that was one of the best scenes in the entire movie. That was hilarious and really insightful. This film, like, really sheds light on how screwed up the political scene here is in the United States, and just, like, how it touches base on the absurdity of it all. And Seth Rogen's character just works so well as Charlize Theron. Like, these two just work so well, and, the news reporter scenes, and they're going around the world, just, oh my goodness, like, Longshot is the second film that I saw this year that's got a 10 out of 10 stars for me. The first being Endgame. And if you guys haven't seen this film, please do. You will not regret it. If you like Seth Rogen especially, and if you appreciate films that aren't just brainless entertainment, like something that has more deepness to it, you're gonna have a good time with Longshot. And I really hope the critics in the Academy notice it when the time comes around, if you know what I'm saying. But yeah, oh boy, I've had quite the day. It's been quite the weekend as well. I got some editing to do, so yeah, I hope you all had a really fantastic summer. Don't worry, the school year, everything's gonna be just fine. This semester, if you're taking classes like me, this only ends in one way, and that is victory. You just gotta keep saying that to yourself until it makes sense. Alright, you guys are the best. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a fantastic Labor Day.